Hello. Okay. So in the last 24 hours, had 6 or 7 people reach out to me asking about digestive issues. And so, here, I'm sorry, I'm making sure my connection's okay. I think we're good. Okay, cool. I had tons of people reach out to me. Even I was at the farmer's market, struck up a conversation with someone working there, someone who I love, who I've interacted with a lot and buy a lot of their products, talking about digestive issues, just everyone. And so to me, that's always a sign that is what's going on for a lot of people, or it's something to share a little bit more about. I think a lot of times too, whenever there's periods of higher stress, or even collective grief, or harder things going on in the world that we are trying to process, that can sometimes show up in our digestion. Because if you think about it, digestion is a process. It's a way that we literally digest and assimilate what's going on. We digest and assimilate our food, our drinks, but also we have to process, digest, and assimilate what's going on in the world around us. So if we are experiencing a lot of digestive issues, there's oftentimes very, very physical components, that are going on with that, but there are also more just energetic and lifestyle pieces as well. And so I think since our gut and our brains and our emotions are so intricately linked, it makes a lot of sense to me when we are dealing with, trying to digest current events, things that are going on in the news, in life, in your surroundings, and that might sometimes show up as physical symptoms too. So what I wanted to share today was 3 ways that you can support your digestion that you might not have thought about. And when we are working with digestion, like I was saying before, it's literally a process. It takes a huge amount of energy to digest the food that we eat. It's a process that the body is doing, and I think sometimes we take that for granted. I do. Think of how much we just expect our body to do on a daily basis. And the amazing thing is that it does so much for us without us even thinking about it. Our liver is filtering and processing things that we are breathing, drinking, exposed to all the time. Our body is digesting foods. We don't have to actively tell our body to digest something. It just does that. But I think sometimes when we're really busy, when there's a lot of other things that demand our attention, we can forget about these super basic things and these processes like digestion, literally. So just even framing that a little bit, that digestion does take a lot of energy and is a lot of work for the body to do. So if we put just a little bit of intention or attention to that process, we can help our body out a lot. It doesn't have to be a big thing or a big to-do. Not all of us can stop and have amazing, luxurious, lunches in the middle of the day, or, it doesn't have to be like that. But there are just, 3 things I want to share that we can do to just have a little bit more, intention or even reverence for this process that our body is doing all the time for us. When we have better digestion and we're able to better assimilate what's going on in the world around us, when we're able to better, digest our food and our drink and all of that, it helps not only our literal digestive symptoms, but also our whole bodies and our whole lives as well. So digestion is just such a key process that has ripple effects. So even just think if you've ever had digestive issues, or, your focus gets turned to your gut for some reason, it can take a huge amount of energy. You can feel tired, you can feel fatigued from it. Sometimes we'll even just feel fatigued after eating, even if we're not having a bunch of digestive issues. And that's because there's a process that's going on. So enough of that. I will go to the three tips that I wanted to share that you can use to support your digestive process if you haven't. And they may be ones that you may not have thought about before. So, and this is especially if you are someone that's experiencing like bloating or nausea or like sour stomach or heartburn, irritation, all of that. So the first one is breathing or pausing before you eat. And again, this is where we just have the ability to put a little bit more attention or honoring that we are about to engage in a process of eating. I think most of us are like running around, doing so many things, and we're so busy that eating is just something that kind of like happens while we're on the go. That's totally fine. I mean, like that's me too. But taking just a little bit of a small pause or thought or intention. I like to use breath before you eat, specifically because it helps us to use this gut-brain connection to tap into the part of our nervous system that allows us to be in the place of resting and digesting. So when we're like out and about running around, we're kind of in our fight or flight, or we're activated, I guess, more in our nervous system. When we use breath, and that's just literally like breathing into the diaphragm or kind of the belly. There's many different techniques that I often teach, but I'm just going to offer now like just a breath. It can help us to literally tap on the vagus nerve, the nerve that connects our gut to our brain, and send signals to our brain that we are okay and that we are like ready to rest and digest. So just think about that, like even just breathing in that act of it and just saying like, I'm going to digest now, like I'm going to eat my food now. It gives the body and this process that it's about to go through a little bit of attention, and even just a few breaths before you eat can shift our internal state enough so that we are in a place where we are ready to receive and absorb our food. I often ask the question of my clients, especially people dealing with chronic health issues, is your body in a place where it's actually able to receive that? Is your body, another way to ask it is like, is your body in like a yes state or a no state? If you ask yourself that question right now, you probably kind of know the answer, even if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Is your body in a yes state or a no state? Is your body able to receive that? And again, like just using breath or a little bit of intention can often shift our internal environment and just enough so that we can feel, so that we can be in that state where we're ready to like receive, absorb, and benefit from the amazing food that we're eating. Okay. Ask me if you have more questions about breath. I have a lot that I can share around that, but we'll go with that for now. The second one is, okay, this is one I'm newly working on myself, is try to, eat your fill and eat what you need to for that meal, and then give yourself a break. I say like, for about 2 hours or so before you eat again, so that your body can go through that process of digestion. Okay, so digestion, again, is a process. The food is moving through different things in the body, and, it's being integrated with different enzymes and chemicals. It's breaking down. It's going through different stages. If we keep adding food continuously onto that process, you can see it kind of like disrupts the process or the ability for it to go through like that if we keep kind of adding it in. So this is a really hard one for me, and something that I'm working on, like I said, because oftentimes I will just be like, oh, I'm not like that hungry and I'm just going to eat a little bit now, and then I'm a little bit more hungry. I should have eaten more. Let me eat more in 30 minutes. And also I work from home, so I like have access to that. This was different when I went, worked at the hospital, and I was like, okay, this is my meal, and then I'm not going to be able to eat for a bit of time. What can happen with that is when we're just constantly like putting food in, it can just, again, like disrupt that process. So this is different than not eating for long stretches of time, especially if you're someone that's wanting to balance your blood sugar. It's a very individual thing. So if you're wondering more about this, send me a message. I work with people one-on-one to figure out like timing, blood sugar, all this stuff, what's true for you. But in general, just thinking, okay, this is my breakfast, or like this is my lunch, and then, or like this is my snack even, and having that intention around it of, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to eat, I'm going to make sure I eat enough, and then I'm going to give my body a pause from doing that process so that it can digest, and I can, do other things. It's basically, if we're just constantly asking the body to engage in that digestive process, it can cause other kind of downstream ripple effects. So that's one just invitation, and one I'm like personally working on right now. So the third one is to really work with this mind-body connection even further. So giving thanks to your food before you eat it, or getting mindful about where your food came from, or setting an intention when you eat that this food is going to be nourishing. This food is going to support my body, like no matter what the food is. Just setting the intention. You can put your hand over your food and you can have that intention. You can just look at it for a second and just think, this food is going to nourish me. If you're even drinking like a juice or something, just thinking like, this is going to go into my cells and support my body. And just having this kind of, it's just engaging your mind in the process. So we can use our mind for a whole lot of different things. Oftentimes we use our mind for thinking, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, if it's like maybe a food that's not as healthy or something, or, oh, like this food is bad, especially if we deal with like food sensitivities, which is something, the whole other topic I could talk a lot about, but we sometimes think, oh, this is bad for me, or this is going to harm me, or this isn't good, or this, there's a lot that goes on in the mind around food. So I would just be aware and see, what you notice there. And if we can kind of harness our mind for good and our intention for good, and think, this food is going to nourish me. This food is going to give me fuel. No matter what the food is. Of course, using our mind isn't the only thing that affects our real physical symptoms, but it is one way that we can align this gut-mind connection and really prepare our body to be able to receive. So getting our mind in that place where we're setting an intention, where we're getting ready to receive the food, it helps to, again, shift our internal state enough. And this is like really physiological. It sounds kind of like maybe energetic or something, and it is too, but it also is like really getting our nervous system into a place. Like imagine if you're about to eat something and you're like, this is so bad for me. Oh my God. This is going to make me feel terrible. It's setting your body up to be in kind of a tense place. It's harder to receive, and you may feel that in symptoms, where if you're like, thank goodness for this food that I have, and this is going to nourish me and, feel really good in my body and give me some energy for this workout I'm about to do. Amazing. Like basically just think of it as like, how can we harness it to shift our internal state a little bit? And again, it's going to be different if you're working with food sensitivities, if you're working with different things, which a lot of people I work with are, so there's nuances to it, but that is the invitation, is to set some intention that the food is going to support you, going to nourish you, give thanks for it, even think like, where did this come from? I buy a lot of things from the farmer's market, so I literally know where they came from. Like my bread this morning, I know the woman that made it. How cool is that? And I think of her when I eat it. She's amazing. She has issues with psoriasis. She's, made this bread for people who also have gut issues. So when I eat it, I think like, oh, I know where this came from, and I know whose hands made it, and that feels so nourishing. Of course, it's not like that with every food I eat. I don't know that. But if you can even get yourself to a farmer's market somewhere around you, and even just see, know the person who made that or who created that, sometimes that can help with the connection that's often lacking in our like giant food supply situation that we're in now. Or I guess grow it yourself. I'm like on that journey of figuring that out, so I haven't quite got there yet, but that can be helpful too, to like just create, what we're wanting to do is create connections, and we're wanting to work on shifting our internal state so that this process of digestion goes better. Okay, so those are my three things, and those are my three tips that you may not have thought about before with digestion. These make a really big difference. Trust me, I've worked with people for years on digestive support, and digestion and how that intersects with autoimmunity and our immune system, our hormones, all of that. And these things make a really big difference. And they start to shift our internal relationship over time, shift our relationship with food, and allow our body the space that it needs to do this amazing process that our bodies do for us every single day. And we're going to be working with digestion every single day until our last day. So cultivating a good relationship with it is really key, and it's really possible no matter where you're at too. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have in the comments too which one of these you might be interested in trying. I would love to hear. And yeah, if you have any further questions, or if you're dealing with a lot of digestive issues, digestive distress, autoimmunity, hormone imbalance, I'm super happy to help. I work with people one-on-one. I have openings for one-on-one health and nutrition coaching right now. So just send me a message or head to christinatidwell.com, but just send me a message and we can talk through a few things. And I'm really happy to help you out. So sending you love wherever you are. And Susie's saying, a chiropractor shared the intention when we eat years ago. Yeah, totally. That intention. And it's so easy to skip over. It's so easy. And I definitely don't do that with all of my meals. I mean, I have the intention to do it with all my meals too. But when we can remember, it makes such a big difference, and it almost makes this act of eating more sacred, more important. We put more, again, where our attention goes, our energy flows, right? Is the saying. So if a bit of intention or attention is put towards this act of eating, that's where energy is going to flow there. We're going to have a better experience. We're going to notice that we're maybe less bloated. We're going to notice that food digests better, that food sits with us better, or we're going to notice that our relationship with it is different. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I love that. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. I will see you soon.